look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car. Here comes Mika into slow corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for F1 down towards the next cover. Oh, it is! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins! In Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right beneath! Oh, he goes! Hello, and welcome back to FRLT Season 5. And it is time for assists round number 2. We're currently missing 3 drivers at the moment. We're missing EVR driver. We're missing both Red Bulls that are LRs. And that's it. We're only missing 3 drivers for the moment. But tonight is going to be very interesting. It is round number 2, but there is a bit of sad news to come with tonight. If you don't know, early this morning, it was announced that sadly, XR8 would be closing. Yes, XR8 have closed after just 1 race into the season. Where's the other EVR driver? So sadly, we do lose one team. We do lose sadly the one team of. We do lose. XR8, which is really sad to lose as a team because, of course, they've got a decent bit of history in the league now. You know, they have quite a bit of history now in the league, so it's of course quite sad to see them leave the league. It is quite sad for them to see them close, especially. So it's a bit of a sad moment, of course. It's a bit of a sad moment. We're going to be going in about 3 minutes, but let's look through the track map. As you can see, it is 4.304 kilometers, 2.674 miles, 17 turns, 3 DRS zones down the pit straight, then down the second straight and the back straight. That is that. Also, looking at the calendar, this is where it's quite interesting. We did Monza last week, and it resulted in a lovely victory for, I believe, SET. We'll have a look at the standings in a second. Then Mexico this week. Next week we'll be going to South America for Brazil. Then going to the Netherlands. Then we'll be having a mystery race before we go to Hungary, Imola, Great Britain. Then another mystery race. Then Japan, Belgium, Saudi Arabia, and Kota. There's one driver who just seems to have left to add somebody, which I don't understand how. So I've just got to add this person back in. So, with that, we finished on the 1st of October. But let's have a look at the standings. As you can see, there are 3 numbers. I explained this with no assists in the no assist stream, so I'll explain it here today. As you can see, SET are on top. We have their positions, their points, and we also got the 9 out of 10. That is what I have rated them. Yes, I'm going to be rating every team for each of their weekends, and SET get a solid 9 out of 10 as they take the lead of the championship for the first time ever. We've never had more than 2 championship leaders. Maybe that would change that, but they took the first victory of Season 5. LR finished closely behind, followed by EVR, who are both on 16 points. SKG looked like they could have taken in a 1-2 finish, but fell apart towards the end of the race. UFRT also secured a massive finish for themselves. PR also getting up to P6 after penalties. AZR dropped down to 7th with a penalty. VMB got 2 points. XR8 only 1 point, and that'll be their 1 point, the only point they score all season. And then it will be AB at the bottom at the moment. Terrible finish for them. They finished 19th and 20th in qualifying, right at the bottom, back row of the grid. They recovered a bit, P13 and P17. Timon had a few problems across the race, or JD Bergsma, and that resulted in some struggles, I'll say, for himself. It did result in a couple of struggles. But it was a pretty crazy end to that race. We're about to get into qualifying for the last push. For the last push for qualifying. The main thing around Mexico is making sure you get that final lap in. That's the main thing that a lot of teams seem to drop. They seem to drop a lot of time to sort of pushing too hard too early. That's the problem with this track. You've got to push. You got to make sure that you push best at the end. So you got to get in the lap times. There's a couple of areas where track limits is quite difficult. One place the track limits is very difficult is, for instance, turn 1, 2, and 3. Turn 1, 2, and 3, all very, very difficult sets of corners. Can quick catch drivers out, especially through turn 2. A lot of the time, drivers get caught out by track limits. As you can see, it is 19 drivers in. We're waiting on the 20th driver, which is an LR driver. But, of course, making their way through today, AERT in the Alpine. They brought Vapor and Elias for this week, for their first ever race. Let's see how they'll perform. Wait to see who's going to be going out on track first here tonight. Half Snow returns here tonight. JD Bergsma returns. We see an old name of ICU return to the league. I don't think we've seen him since season 2 or 3. We also see Ruben return for the first time since, I believe, about season 2. Nilu returns. We've seen Vapor before. Yanni as well. Cormac, I think, makes his debut today. Frozen here again after a good race last week, after that victory last week. Simba also returns this week. But with a bit of a different team. Not with XR8, with the UFRT. So, yeah. So the first car out on track is Frozen. First driver out today. We got now full grid. All 20 drivers are out on track. And I can't wait to see how Frozen's going to do. He's back again. He got the win for SET last week. They only lead the Constructors' Championship by just 3 points ahead of everyone else. With the new point system, you can only get 18 points for victory, 1 point for pole, 1 point for fastest lap. He got pole and he got the win last week. It was a pretty straightforward victory for SET, taking their second ever win in assists. But let's see, can SET eye up another pole position? Can they eye up another victory here tonight? Let's see how he's going to do. Opening the rear wing with the DRS. Down the pit straight he goes towards turn 1. Goes Frozen for the first time here tonight. Let's see how he's going to do. Into turn 1. Pretty solid. Looking pretty decent there. He's looking pretty decent. First 3 corners go by, and it's not too bad for the first 3 corners. Could have been slightly better. He's a little bit wide through that 3rd corner. Hello, everybody. Hello. I've just pulled up the chat, by the way. I've just pulled up the chat. Into the double right-hander. Quite easy corner that you can mess up. If you go a bit too deep, you can lose about 2-3 tenths of time. But he's done that pretty well. Definitely a bit of understeer. We saw last week at Monza, understeer with overheating or even just worn tyres became a massive problem for a lot of teams. VMV really suffered from that last week. They really suffered with the understeer. Same with LR, same with ABE, all suffering with these sort of same problems. Same for SKG. SKG really suffered with understeer. But across the line, Frozen sets a 1 minute 14.666 for the first lap time of the night. And that is not a bad lap time at all. Trying to see who's next to cross the line. Who is it? I don't know who it is. I think Simba is next to cross the line. Let's see how he's going to do. Is he close or is he a bit off? He is quite a bit off. It's a 15.498. So definitely off the pace straight away into qualifying. Not perfectly there. Nilu starts his lap. Then we've got Cormac also starting his lap. We've got Yanni coming up to line. Yanni goes fastest of all. 1 minute 14.551. And a very strong lap time from himself there. You can see Robbie, new to UFRT, goes P2. Very strong. Ruben can only pick up P5 in all of that. He's a bit off for the pace. Yanni takes the lead. Weekly team run through, yes. As you can see, SKG in the Aston Martin. I'll actually quickly just pull it up, just quickly. SET are in the McLaren, AZR are in the Ferraris, LR in the Red Bull, UFRT in the Mercedes, SKG in the Aston Martin, AERT, new team in Alpine, VMV in the Haas, PR in the RB, AB in the Williams, and EVR in the Sauber. There. You can see PR a bit off for the pace, about 2 tenths, not too far, but it's more Jay Snowy's teammate, Switch, who's a little bit off, as we just saw. Half Snow did all right there. Vapor went faster as well, just slightly faster, 6 thousandths faster than Yanni. AERT already making a good impression on their first qualifying so far. Cormac doesn't set a good lap time. He's 13th, very, very poor to start off his session here tonight. Kaya Fan goes into P13 just ahead. Not too bad from himself there. Who's next? JD Bogsman's just started his lap. Elias is invalidated, so opposite ends for AERT at the moment. But very, very close at the top. 6,000 splitting first and second. We'll have to see how that goes. But are we going to see a second pole sitter in the second race of the season? Are we going to see this? Who thinks we are going to see this? This is the big question. Who do you think is going to take pole? Based off of those first runs, who do you think is going to take pole? Nilu also went P5, so SET still coming out as the average strongest team still. Even in the second qualifying, they're still showing it in the second round. Here comes Connor up to the line. Where's he going to go? Is he going to slot in? He slots in very well. Just behind Robbie in P4. 5 different teams in the top 5 at the moment. Just like last week. 5 different teams in the top 5. I think that's JD Bergsma who goes P10. Solid for himself, much better qualifying. They want to be sitting around here. I see you, though, his teammate, only in 11th. We've got Marvin, who's on a slow lap at the moment. He's on his out lap, actually. Down in 19th. 2 drivers yet to set a lap. Rares Toma hasn't been able to set a proper lap yet for AZR. So 3 drivers still yet to properly set a lap. So we'll have to see how that goes. So far, I definitely say it's really up to anybody for now. Because all of the top 6 at least could go for pole. They're all within less than a tenth and a half of each other. You know, any of these guys could go for pole. You know, it's so close at the moment in those top 5. So anybody could go for it. Marvin is starting his lap. Let's see how he's going to do. It's been a while since we've seen Marvin. Last time we saw Marvin, by the way, was in Season 2. So he's one of the drivers that's been around for a little while, but hasn't been seen for a while at the same time. Let's see how his Sector 1 is going to go. His first sector is quite long, 28.151. Not sure where that's going to be at the moment. It's definitely not fastest, but it's not... It doesn't seem too far off. A little bit of understeer hitting the Red Bull. Let's see how he does through this fast section. Through the S's. Not bad. Understeer not really hitting the Red Bull too badly. Very, very calm. High speed seems to be where a lot of drivers seem to be very comfortable at the moment. But you can see a little bit of understeer hitting there. Let's see into the hairpin. Perfect. That Red Bull looks really, really sharp. Looks sharp and on point out on track at the moment. Absolutely perfect so far from the Red Bull. And across the line, he goes P11, splitting the ABE driver. So 15.064. Very, very good lap there from himself. Very, very good lap. Everybody heading out for their second runs now. Everybody's making their way out. Ruben is on a lap. I think Switch is also on a lap. I think Switch is actually the next driver to be crossing the line. He's up by 3.5 tenths in his first sector, so he's finding lots of time on those soft tyres. Exactly what you want to be seeing. Exactly what you want to be seeing. PR really need a good night here again. 7 points scored in the opening race. Not a bad start to their season. Only 12 points off the championship leader, by the way. 12, yes. Just 12 points away. So the championship is not forgotten and it is not gone at the moment for PR. But they need to build on that and maybe get another consistent finish. Maybe try to push for the top 5 here tonight. If they could get, if they could get double points, even double points of maybe 8th, 7th and 8th. Taking a good 8 points, taking another solid few points. A Switch goes P9, just behind his teammates, into a 14.822. So very, very solid lap time. I think we just saw somebody jump up the order. That was Ruben who jumped up to P14. So not too bad from himself at all. Not too bad. Frozen is coming around. He's invalidated, sadly. That's an invalidation for Frozen. Got Cormac making his way around. I wasn't able to see whether he's improving. Who are AB? They are in the Williams. They are in the Williams. Let's just see Cormac making his way around with a lot of speed. Up the line. And that is Cormac, who goes fastest of all. 1 minute 15.524. And what a lap set. What a lap set by EVR. I cannot believe the lap he's just put in there. Another 21 thousandths ahead of the competition. Exactly where you want to be. Exactly where you want to be as a team. We got a Mercedes coming around next. That's Robbie. I think we got Yanni. I think we got a Red Bull. I think that's Ruben, who's slowly making his way around. It's Ruben who's making his way around. That's Najas making his way up to the line. He improves by just a 10th. Not much of an improvement, though. Yanni jumps everyone and goes to a 1 minute 14.269. SKG pushing. After a struggle in the first race, SKG pushing for performance. Nilu went P2, by the way, and a very strong lap from himself, showing that it is coming together. I think we saw Jay Snowy improve up to P8. That's a good lap for himself. Connor, P6 at the moment. I think we got one of the Alpines on a lap. That was Elias. P16. Not as good as his teammate. Pretty strong from himself. I'm trying to see who... I'm waiting for somebody to pop up on my screen for improving the lap time. Robbie improved very slightly, but it wasn't enough to improve his position, though. So he stays where he is for the moment. We have Toma, who's coming around. He's not improving on his lap. Not an improvement on his lap. That's a bit of disappointment there. I think... That was JD Bergsman who just crossed the line with a slight improvement. Only a slight improvement for himself. Sven isn't improving. Disappointment there from himself again. I'm not sure what it is. Couple of drivers really struggling to find the performance. Frozen. He might have started out fastest, but he now sits 4/10 away from provisional pole at the moment from the fastest driver, Yanni. Yanni really pulling out the gap. Same with Nilu, getting sort of almost 2/10 ahead of Cormac. So we're going to have to see, are these final runs going to be where it is made up? Frozen. On his lap now. Let's see, how much time can he find? Still, his first lap time, still his quickest. His second run in validation. So he needs to, in this third run and his final run, he really needs to get it together. Into turn 1 he goes, throwing the car through. Very nice. Just the car just bending and turning. How he wants rotating the car around those first 3 corners. It's quite difficult, but he's made it work. And out of Sector 1, he's up by almost a 10.5. That is a good improvement in Sector 1. That's already going to jump him up to about P4. So he's all P4, possibly P3. So he's already looking at a very good improvement in Sector 1. Let's see. How will Frozen Sector 2 go? Through the S as he goes. Throwing the car through. I have to say, he's really throwing that car through. Only 2 cars out on track, and that is Frozen and Half Snow who are out on track. He's up by over 2/10 of a second. He's finding the lap time he needs. He's gone a little bit off there, but he's okay for now. A little bit deep. He misses the apex just slightly, and he invalidates. So close. Up by over 2/10 of a second. And he's just lost all of that in one go. And he's got enough fuel for another run, I think. But that is disappointment for himself. Next driver we'll see be starting a lap will be Half Snow. SKG, P1 and P9. Looking pretty strong. But as we know... I think, as we know from last week, the qualifying positions are no guarantee to where you are actually going to finish. We had, I think, 2-3 teams who had both their drivers inside the top 10. In the end, I think only one team had 2 drivers in the top 10. Had double points finishes. So it was a really sort of stressful week for a lot of teams. But let's see. Half Snow starting off his lap. The Aston Martin... needing a performance here tonight. At the moment, on for pole. On for 2 drivers inside of the top 10. Let's see. What can Half Snow do? Ooh, and a bit of a slide out of the exit of turn 3. Opening that rear wing as he makes his way down towards turn 4 and 5. Sharp, very sharp corners. He's down by 0.008 of a second. He's missed turn 4 slightly. And he's backed off on his lap, I believe. So that is... him done. He's not very happy with his lap time there. Clearly not very happy. Not what you want to be seeing. Here comes Najus. He's going slow. He's not happy with his run either. Nobody really happy with their run at the moment. Next driver to be starting lap is actually Frozen once again. He's going to be starting off his run, but he's going to have a lot of traffic at first before turn 1. He's got 3 cars in front of him for now. He's got to negotiate his way round. So we're going to see how this will go. He's already gotten past 3 of them, so it's been a pretty solid start. He did really well in the Sector 1. He found almost a 10.5. What has he done on the second run? Has he found the same amount? He's found more. almost exactly on a 10th and a half. He's found about another 15 thousandths over his previous run. This is even better for himself. This does confirm he will get up into at least about P5. But he's got to keep finding this lap time. Into the S section he goes, throwing that car through. It's just rotating how he needs it to. He's shown that he can take pole and he can win before. Will our round one winner take another victory? He's up by almost 0.3 of a second. He's even faster than last time by about another 0.5 of a second. Let's see. Heading round. Doesn't make the same mistake he did last time round. And into the final corner he goes. On the throttle, all the way up to the line. How much does he improve? Does he take fastest? No, he doesn't, but he takes P2. And that is one hell of a lap from himself. And that is what you expect to see. Sven goes into P15. That's a solid lap from Sven himself. I'm not sure who's coming up the line next to actually finish a lap. I'm not sure who's next for finishing laps. As Connor improves by over a 10th and a half and goes to a 1 minute 14.485. And into P4 he goes. And a very, very good lap time from himself there. Exactly what he was looking for. We've got a little bit of slipstreaming going on. Which, again, I have mentioned that I'm not too happy about some teams trying to pick up slipstream. We got Najus, who goes P10. Finds another 10th and a half in his lap time. Got Yanni Casares, who's improving slightly more. He doesn't improve 4 thousandths down. 4 thousandths down in his lap time. We got Nilu, who isn't improving, and that's the end of his run there. We got Toma across the line. He stays P20 in last, even though he improves by 0.5 second. Elias is invalidated. It's his teammate Vapor that we want to look at. He improves by almost 0.2 of a second to go P4. Very, very solid lap time for himself. Robbie's invalidated there, and that's disappointment. We're trying to find the next driver who's in the queue. I see you is improving, and he's finding quite a bit of time. He goes P11. What a lap from himself. What a lap. Sven comes in. He's not happy with his lap at all. We saw Kaya Fan goes into P18. A solid lap for himself. Marvin just jumps up a place, I believe. Just one place. We got JD Bergsma up to the line next. He improves by just 16 thousandths of a second. And that is that for him. And not a great session at all. Jay Snowy stays in P8. Half Snow isn't improving on his lap. I think somebody's round. That's Simba who's in the wall. He didn't even get to the end of his lap. That's him in the wall, and that's his session over. And that is it for qualifying. That is it for qualifying in Mexico. As we can see, he is sliding around like crazy. He comes across the line slowly. It's actually broken my camera a bit. He's actually broken my camera. I don't know how he's done that. But now that is the end of the session. Just waiting on Half Snow to retire. And that is it. What an end to qualifying. Let's have a look. It is Yanni Casares and SKG on pole position here in Mexico, followed by the SCT duo of Frozen and Nilu. Then it is Vapor in 4th, Connor in 5th, followed by his teammate Cormac in 6th, Robbie in 7th, Jay Snowy in 8th, Half Snow in 9th, and Najus finishing out the top 10, followed by I See You, Switch, Marvin, JD Bergsma, Sven, Ruben, Elias, Kaya Fan, Simba, and Toma in last place. Surprising to see sort of realistically only 2 teams really coming away with a good sort of teammate balance, EVR and SET. The rest really not having the best of luck on that side of things. Really not the best of luck on that side of things. I think we're in for a very interesting race. I think we're in for probably one of the most interesting races of the season. We've got about 3 minutes before we get into the race. But I have to say, it's incredibly interesting with teams that you see that there's only really 2 teams, EVR and SCT, who have come from round 1 to round 2, and once again are showing the same sort of level performance as a team, especially EVR, who've gone back-to-back races where as a team they're showing the same level of performance. I've seen some drivers say about bits of blocking here and there, so that will of course play into it. That will of course play into every race, is that there are bits of teams following and slipstream and blocking and things like that. So that's always going to be something that comes up with teams. That's always something that comes up with teams, but that's something the stewards can sort. This race is going to be interesting, though. I think it is very close. I think Yanni Cassara showing SKG have the strength and pace to take pole, but qualifying is very much, I'd say, 5% of it, especially here at Mexico where you can overtake. I've seen drivers make 10, 12, 13 places up. So realistically, from grid start, it's only about 0.3 of a gap improvement over second place. It's very, very small from that race start, from that grid position. So it's incredibly close. Sort of 2-3 tenths is that gap at the beginning. So teams will have a very, very close start. And so putting in that pole is very important. But with the amount of DRS and how many straights there are, it just allows teams to get through a little bit more easily without a problem. So we'll have to see whether SKG can hold on to this win. Let's see. Let's see whether they're going to hold on to this win or not. Because I think it's very, very close. I think it is incredibly close between the top. I'd say the top 4 is very, very close. AERT, and I could hear the beeping as we were about to go for round number 2 of the season. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Mexico for FRLT Season 5 assists. And it's round number 2, and it's a good start from Yanni. He's broken away from the rest of the grid pretty far. Oh, that's somebody in the wall. That is somebody in the wall further back. That is Vapor who's gone into the wall. I'm not sure what's happened there. And now into turn 1 they go. Look at that. A bit of pushing from teammates. But that's Vapor who's already down quite a few places. Quite a few drivers having some damage. And oh my god, Jay Snowy off in the distance. Almost hitting into the wall completely. Cormac dropping down the order as well. It looks like he's had a bit of a spin out of turn 2. Some tyres not being kind to drivers. But look at all of this battling 3 wide. Further back in the pack. Oh my god, the battling is going a little bit crazy, as you can see. Everybody going everywhere at the moment, trying to make up positions all that they can. And you can see there is a battle over 13th between the Red Bull teammates. And that's actually dropped down Marvin down a few places as he now drops down quite a few places. You can see, not been a great start for AERT. And I'm not sure what happened there, but Yanni leads away. And he's actually had not a bad start to his race as you can see, AZR. They might have scored a good 5 points in the opening race of the season. They might have scored a very, very good 5 points. But now they're outside of the points and not looking so good. But they were in the same position last time round. Yanni now leads away. And there is Nilu who follows. And then Frozen in third. I see you, by the way. What a start he's had. Up to P4. Same for JD Bozeman. Up to P9. But I see you on those medium tyres. He's gone through all of the chaos. And he's up into P4 already. But it's not been a good start from the debutees of AERT, who are 18th and 20th. I think part of it comes down to bad luck there off of the start. Somebody might have taken them out, I believe. It looked like that, so who knows? We'll have to see in reports. But I see you up to P4, and ABE's return is definitely coming back in. But the top three now starting to run away with the race a little bit more. But remember, both SCT drivers are on the medium tyres, so I'm suspecting that Yanni definitely does have quite a bit of powerful pace with him. But of course, we saw last race in Monza, the hard tyres were not the tyre to start on. They, strategy-wise, they weren't the tyre to start on because they weren't strong enough towards the end of the race to really have anything over the rest of the grid, sort of in the final 4 or 5 laps of the race. And especially with today, it being a 36-lap race, we'll have to see. But here comes Frozen for the lead of the race. He led last race, and he's going to lead again here in Mexico as he pulls in front of Yanni. And that is a big, big move. And that's an amazing move. We sadly need to invite a driver very, very quickly because he's gotten kicked from the lobby for no apparent reason. Which, of course, is incredibly unlucky. And that invite has been sent. He should get that invite now. So he should get back in. Ruben having a big battle here. You can see this mid-pack having massive problems in this mid-pack. Huge, huge problems at the moment. Waiting on Elias to get in. I think he's been kicked again. I'm not sure why he's getting kicked. But you can see Frozen now leads the way. The gap is starting to grow. Nilu struggling to keep up a little bit. Struggling to keep up a bit with the rest of, with his teammate and Yanni Casares as he's now about 9/10 back. Connor though, making the move up to P5 ahead of Robbie. That's a strong move. I think we just saw Vapor go off. But EVR not going to be taking double points here tonight. Oh, and that's JD Bergamo who's gone round. And he's now dropping down the order. But as you can see, what Frozen leads away. And it is... Yeah. No, I noticed AERL. I noticed. Because he's just said that the game keeps on saying it needs updates. That we're not on the same level of update. Which is strange because I'm hosting it, everybody's fine. But I think it's just EA being dumb, like usual. I am so sorry. Like, this game, I don't know why. It ruins teams' chances. It really does. It really does ruin teams and their chances. Money is lost over this game being ass. But you can see Nilu, by the way, has fallen over a second behind his teammate. He's not even going to get DRS here. So he's completely easy pickings for ICU, who's heading down towards turn 1. And before turn 1, he's made that move up to P3 and onto the podium. ABE, one of the most successful teams, officially the third most successful team, podiums-wise, in FRLT. Third most successful team. And look at this. Nilu's really under attack here. His tyres have not lasted because even Connor on the hard tyres is trying to make his way past. Has he gotten this move or not? Vapor's retired, and that is AERT. Disaster out of the first race. Absolute disaster. Ruben gets a 10-second time penalty. Somebody's gone off. Somebody's gone off. That's ICU who's gone off. He's had a massive moment. Absolutely massive moment there for himself. Nobody's getting away with it easy today. Nobody's getting away with it easy here today. I have to say, it's very interesting. Marvin also gets a 10-second time penalty as well. Both LR drivers struggling. But I see you back down to 11th. And chaos for both ABE drivers. And ABE... Are they going to go now a second race without points? This is going to be shocking. Frozen, by the way, down to P2. Connor's now about 2.5 seconds off of the leaders. But this isn't going well. Toma and his teammate Sven up to P... Whoa! Sven almost losing it into the wall there for a second. AZR and AB both outside of chance for points. Same for LR. 3 teams at the moment. Also, sorry, 4th as well for AERT. 4 teams outside of the points for the moment. Quite far away. Simbolo has somehow found himself up into the top 10. Even though he qualified, I believe, 19th. So he's randomly found himself up into this top 10 position. So up into the points goes UFRT for double points. On for 11 points here tonight for UFRT. But again, tonight, SKG and SET being the 2 teams who are currently fighting for these positions. This has been a big moment further back in the pack. And that is Toma who's gone off. He's gone off. As now, Robbie, by the way, gets past Nilu for P4. Nilu is just dropping back through the pack. I think he's used up his mediums way too quickly here. And even for a great qualifying position, he's now starting to drop places. Najus and Jay Snowy might have a very easy time getting past the SET driver. They're the next 2 to catch him. But here comes Jay Snowy for position. He's got some wing damage on his car as well. Front wing end plate missing. Maybe he was the starter of the chaos in all of that. Elias is back and up to P16 already. He's pushing back again. And penalties, he should hopefully in a bit see himself up to P14. So he's very much having a bit of a comeback. He'll be hoping for a safety car though in this race. He'll very much be hoping for a safety car. But Yanni now leads away by just over a second in tonight's race. Very, very calm race. I'd say it's calmed down a little bit in the last few laps. Still, another 30 laps to go in this race, soon to come down to 29. But Yanni now leads by over a second and a half ahead of Frozen. So at the moment, we might be looking at another team winning a race here tonight. But we'll have to see very, very soon. Because what is everyone up to? What is everyone going to do? What are the strategies? Toma gets a 3-second time penalty. Look at this. Najus has a moment as well. Just like JD Bergsma, out of turn 1, he seems to have, again, another big moment. Second driver to be caught out by turn 1 there. So, obviously, grip seems to be quite low into that turn 1, and people keep on seeming to spin out of that first corner, sort of coming through that first corner. Everybody seems to be spinning. 2 drivers now caught out by that. That is not the way to go. To be honest, SKG might take the victory here tonight, but at the same time, it's still not a double points finish. Only PR are on for a double points finish, and UFRT. Najus, by the way, has a great moment as... Oh no, I see you! Oh, what's happened to him again? I see you out in the wall again. I really hope this is not going to be retirement for ABE. Their first race, chaos. Second race, looks like to be even worse. At least last time they could blame to some degree. They could blame qualifying. But tonight, I don't think there's going to be a qualifying. 3 drivers are in. Marvin, ICU, and Najus all in. So another 3 drivers. Everybody's spreading out quite a bit. ICU retires, and it's our second retirement of the night. 1 AERT out and 1 ABE out. ABE don't look like they might score a point. There's a chance that they could score a point, but most likely when they pit, they might not be able to. Jay Snowy, by the way, makes his way up to P5. PR really pushing for strong points again. 15 points on their way here tonight. So it looks like they're looking for very big points. SET, though, also looking for very big points as Nilu battles over this top 5 place. EVR, though. I've got to say, Frozen, Connor, and Robbie all sort of catching up to Frozen here is quite surprising. Of course, they're both on the hard tyres, but... Oh, and it's a moment! Nilu! Has Nilu spun it? And Simba in the wall? What happened here? And there is a front wing change for Simba. What's happened, though, for Nilu? Has he spun? I don't know. Yeah, he is racing. He is driving at the moment. He is actually driving. I'm not sure what's happening here tonight. Drivers on those medium tyres really losing grip after sort of 5-6 laps. Drivers seem to be they've really lost a lot of grip. The AERT car, yeah, is Alpine. It is Alpine. But this really surprises me. The medium tyres just showing really no grip. And even an incredibly strong SET this week still showing that even they can find there's always going to be some sort of issue that's going to hit them, even though they were by far on average the best team so far in qualifying at the start of the race. They've completely fallen away here. And there goes Connor on the hard tyres. He goes past Frozen for P2. That's down another place for SET. JD Bergsman was climbing a couple of places as a few drivers come in. Jay Snowy, Kaya Fan, and Nilu all into the pits they go. Another 3 drivers. Seems to be sets of 3 that are going in specifically, so not huge amounts of drivers. Elias, though, on those hard tyres, finds himself up to P8, so maybe his disconnection might have been a little bit of hope. Might give him a little bit of hope, because I can definitely see him doing all right in this race. He might finish about P12, possibly down to P15, so he's definitely not going to be last. He won't be first, but he won't be last either. So at the moment, he's not doing a bad job in there. Still, AERT could be in for a chance of points still out of their first race and out of Mexico. The gap is coming down, though, in the lead. Yanni Casares is losing his lead slowly. It was 3 seconds. Now it's down to 2.5. The gap is coming down. You can see Frozen's over 2 seconds behind. Those mediums are completely gone on his car. And he's going to drop down out of the podium positions because Robbie is about to make his way past the SET driver. But he just... Is it just me, or do UFRT seem to be struggling for straight line speed? They're really struggling. Look at that. The mediums, just no grip. Sliding still through turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. No grip at all after just 12 laps. And there goes Robbie up into P3 and washed down to P4. Jay Snowy, by the way, gets up to P9. With Najus following very closely. I'm surprised, though. Only 2 drivers with penalties in this race. Very surprised so far. Najus, though, P10. He has got Ruben behind him. But let's have a look at the tyres. Tyres-wise, Najus is on fresh hard tyres. So it is interesting. The only fresh sort of mediums are on half snow. Everybody's going for hards for the next set of tyres. Of course, the hard runners on the first set will be going for the mediums. But they might have to rethink that. Quite a lot of drivers now. With that stop from 10th downwards have all stopped at least once in this race. Only the top 9 haven't. Penalties, 10-second time penalty for Ruben, so that's just going to drop him down to about P10 at the end of the race. Sorry, not P10, P16. Toma gets a 3-second time penalty again. That's pretty much it. But a very good race from Sven and JD Bergsma so far. Jay Snowy's just set the fastest lap of the race, by the way. So he is absolutely on fire for pace. Ruben comes into the pits now for his pit stop. For another one. But Jay Snowy, really on fire on those fresh hard tyres. Even with wing damage, he's really on point. There goes Nilu up into P12. But he's quite a way away from the next car in front. to the next VMV cars. He's quite far behind, so the undercut looks like it could be the way to go. Connor hasn't really closed up on Yanni this lap. He's still sitting about that amount. Toma now retires. AZR also suffer retirement in this race. Not looking too good. And there goes Jay Snowy around the outside. He gets Elias, and that's up to P8. Jay Snowy, is this undercut really working for him? It might work. Robbie, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, Robbie, what a mistake. We can see Frozen is also into the pits as well at the same time. Let's see, where is Snowy Jay Snowy, where is he going to come out in this pack? How close is he going to be to Frozen and Robbie? How close is he going to be? He's going to get ahead of his teammate by a mile. Has he gotten Frozen or not? He's almost gotten Frozen in all of that. He's caught right up to the back of Frozen. But with Robbie's penalty, he's going to be up another place. So this could be looking quite good for himself. It's looking very, very good for himself in all of this. Because he's now right onto the back of a car that can give him DRS, and he can then catch up to Robbie in P5. And with a penalty, Robbie will have to really extend that gap. But that's going to be, at the moment, looking at P5 for Jay Snowy. Possibly P3 by the end of this race. But it's really turning into something else today. I have to say, this race is really strategic. Really taking out the best of the drivers. As Yanni Casares is going to go into a 15th lap on those hard tyres. So is Connor. He's going even longer. Kaya Fan moves up to P9 ahead of Elias. Very good move through the S's. A ballsy move through the S's, may I say. Very ballsy move from Kaya Fan. Been a bit of a quiet race for himself, but he's all of a sudden turned it around. Here comes Robbie, who's on JD Bergsma for P4. He's all over the back of him. Can he make the move? No, he can't. He just, again, I do think the UFRT drivers are struggling for straight line speed. We've seen it with Simba. He doesn't seem to be making any overtakes. We're seeing it with Robbie. He hasn't made, by the way, a single overtake down a straight, except, one overtake, and that was on Frozen. Frozen was his only overtake he made on a straight. So far this race, it's been a bit of a struggle straight line speed-wise, but now Robbie's up to P4, but he's stuck now in between this traffic. He's now got Sven in front of him. Is Sven going to fight it? Sven is going to fight it. Sven isn't letting Robbie go, but Robbie's going to push his way past anyway, and up into P3 he goes. Najas now gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That brings his teammate Kaya Fan back into it. Connor's now into the pits. Where is Connor gonna come out in all this? Because of course, he's swapping to another set of hards. He's swapping to another set. He thinks it's a 2-stop. He definitely thinks it's a 2-stop. Who's going to come out in front here? Has Robbie gotten Connor? No, he hasn't. No, he has not. Connor just comes out in all of this. Sven and JD Boatman now into the pits. And it's all changing once again. Nilu gets up into P8, and we're going to see the same. Simba also jumps up. Half Snow gets a 10-second time penalty in the pit lane, and he retires. That's SKG down a driver, just like last week. That sadly means Sadly, for SKG, that means they only have a 50% finishing rate so far this season, which is not where you want to be. It's really where it's really where you don't want to be as a team. That you're only having, out of 4 possible finishes, you've only had 2 as it stands at the moment, on for 2. But if Yanni was to finish, that's a 25% finish rate, which is just absolutely horrific. But still, so far, 50% finish rate for SKG. I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. I don't know what to say about a 50% finish rate from a team like SKG. It's not really what you'd expect to see, but you can see Connor is now closing in. It's below 20 seconds. It's starting to get to the risky point now where it is starting to get below the gap. Frozen is now just set the fastest lap of the race. So it's looking pretty good. Jay Snowy's falling off a little bit. Kayafan and Najus change positions. The gaps are starting to build. Of course, that is dirty air on this year's game. That is very much just dirty air on this year's game. You see, look at that. Connor's ripped out another, about 9/10 out of Yanni in just the first 3 corners. Yanni's got to come in this lap. He's just losing. He is losing seconds now. Look at this. 1.5 seconds so far this lap he's lost to Connor. The gap is just coming down so much. By the end of the lap, that's 17. That's come down by 2 seconds since the beginning of this lap. And it's just coming down so much now. Is it time? Yanni's going again. Yanni is going for another lap. Has SKG thought of a masterclass here? Is it a masterclass, or have they just... is Yanni doing a bit of a Lando Norris and being stubborn and staying out on tyres he knows aren't helping him? Because he's now just lost about 3.2 seconds. About 3.2 seconds in the last lap to the car behind. You can't be losing 3.2 seconds to the car behind in one single lap. And that was Connor pushing. And so I'm really worried to see how much more these lap times are going to come down already. Coming down quite a bit. Simba now making his way past Najus. Can he get past Nilu at the same time? Unable to as of yet. Of course, Robbie's penalty still lingers, which means Frozen's going to finish P4. Jay Snowy P5. At the moment, Kayafan will stay P6. So Robbie will still finish P5 in the end. Connor, by the way, again... he's brought it down by another 1.3 seconds this lap. It's not as much as last lap, but it's still humongous chunks of lap time is coming out from Yanni. He's lost almost 2 seconds again this lap. Is he going to come in? Is it time? No, it's not! Yanni is running a massive risk for when he comes into the pits. Even though he is saving tyre wear, it's just the general time he's losing. He's losing so much time, he might not be able to gain this back. On 5-6 lap fresher tyres. He won't be able to gain this back. One stop might be better, but who knows? I don't know. One stop might be better, but at the moment it's just how much time he's currently losing on this set of tyres. He's going to come out at this rate about 8-9 seconds behind. Even if he pits this lap, he's still going to come about 8 seconds at least behind Connor. So he's going to be really, really far behind his main rival in this race, who doesn't have a penalty. But the longer he waits, of course, the more time he's going to be losing. And the thing is, Connor's done that 2-stop. And let's just see, how many laps has he done on this tyre? He's done 3 laps versus 18. I don't know. Is Yanni going to come in? Is this the time that the Aston Martin comes into the pits? No. He's going for a 20th lap of this race onto the hard tyres. He's completed 19 laps on his tyres. He's just lost half his gap, by the way. The gap has halved in this time. You can actually see him just about down the road. Tiny little pixel down the road is where he's at. And he's just losing huge amounts of time. Who thinks that SKG are bottling this at the moment? Who thinks they've just bottled this? You can see Elias, by the way, dropping down the order on those hard tyres. He's gotten a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Switch now. Makes the overtake up to P9 ahead of Najus. It's a pretty sweet move there, but... I don't know. I'm really worried that he's just bottled a very straightforward victory. If he had stopped at the same time, I think he's just bottled it. Who thinks Yanni has just bottled the victory? Because in my opinion, I think he might have just done that, because he's just dropped 11 seconds. Is Yanni coming in this lap? Does he feel that the gap is now getting a bit too small for his liking? He's still not coming in. He's now completed 20 laps on those hard tyres. He's running 2.7 seconds. Yeah, everyone is on a 2-stop. Everyone else has done 2 stops. But the problem is, there's another 15 laps to do. So basically, Connor will go to 20-lap-old tyres. And Yanni might be on fresh tyres, but he's lost about 13 seconds. You might say that, Shanez, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just the rate of time he's losing. He's lost 13 seconds now, which is over half a pit stop. So, I mean, if he doesn't stop in the next 2 laps, Connor will be all over the back of him, and then that opportunity will very much disappear. So, who knows? Will we see EVR take their second win, and SKG have to wait even longer for another victory? Who knows? Because it's below 6 seconds now. I mean, he can actually see him up the road. You can just about see Yanni up the road. You could see him just there for a split second as well. So it's very clear that the gap, look at this, almost down to below 5 seconds. It is below 5 seconds now. And Yanni's going for another lap. Even though, I'm astonished. He's still losing 2-3 seconds a lap. But he's staying out. I understand his strategy, but if he's going to the mediums haven't worked, but he might be going to the softs. But the softs will burn too much as well. But if I remember correctly, by the way, Connor does have to do another stop. Because he's gone hard 2 hards. He's just done hard. So he needs to go to another set of tyres. But at this rate, it actually gives Connor a bit of an advantage at this point, by the way. Because he's gone hard to hards, he's catching back up to Yanni, who's losing time to. So because he's catching up this much, even if Yanni goes to fresh tyres, the gap will be so reduced, they'll be like how it was before the pit stop. So at the moment, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Is that rain? Do I see rain on the screen? Have I just seen rain on the screen? This might change everything. This is going to change everything. Did I just see some specks of rain? I'm seeing rain. 2.3 seconds is the gap now between first and second. He is waiting for the rain, and so is Connor. But the worst thing that he's done about waiting for the rain is that now they're both going to go onto fresh tyres. And there you go. Only 2 drivers on the mediums, Sven and JD Bergsma. Kaya Fan has come in. Is Kaya Fan going to the intermediates? Yes, he is. Very, very early to go to the intermediates. A bit too early, I'd say. But there goes Frozen up to P3. But holy hell. Has Connor just done a masterclass? Has he just done a masterclass in strategy? Because he was about 3-4 seconds behind Yanni before, I think, the first pit stop or the second pit stop. So, has he just done a masterclass in closing up the gap? You can see Elias and Cormac now both into the pits as well, onto those intermediate tyres. But holy Jesus, look at this. Yanni is about to lose the lead of this race, but this is crucial. This is crucial for Yanni Casares not to lose the lead of the race. As Yanni now comes into the pits and Connor leads. Robbie gets another 3-second time penalty. That's not helping him at all. But do we think Yanni's come in too early as well? Who thinks Yanni has come in a little bit too early? I don't think it's wet enough. Who's on inters? Kaya Fan is on inters. It's all over the back of Marvin. Quite a few drivers coming in now. Not a lot of time being lost. Where's Yanni come out? Yanni's come out about, about 20 seconds behind. How much time is he gaining, though, on the car in front of Robbie? He's not gaining a lot. He's actually losing time still. So has he come in too early? Oh, that's Connor! That's Connor! He's round! He's spun and he has crashed. Any damage on his car? No, it isn't, but he spun. And that is that for Connor. All of that advantage that he had built has all disappeared in just moments. It is now SET and Frozen who lead away once again in Mexico. I don't know what to say. Does this give SET a chance of winning here tonight? Connor has blundered. He has blundered. I'm sorry to say, but he has blundered that strategy. He really has. I'm afraid to say, he really has. EVR's win is not going to come here just yet. Yanni now strolls off into the distance, into the lead. As Frozen now watches. Yanni will have to watch from far back. Jay Snowy, by the way, jumps Robbie in the pits. And that's a big one for himself, as Nilu also gets up. Simba as well up a few places, but Kaya Fan right behind on the back of Nilu here. Is Nilu going to be under attack from 2 cars? Maybe, maybe not, but Simba makes his way up. He's got that penalty though. I'm not sure how big of a penalty he's got. How big is it? 3 seconds. So at the moment, that 3 seconds is going to stretch him down to P9 in this race. So still double points for UFRT here tonight. Let's see. Who is going to be more equipped for the wet weather? Who's going to be more equipped for this wet weather racing? Cormac gets a 3-second time penalty. Ruben retires as well from the race. LR go from a podium to last and DNF. You say Yanni's won, Shanaz. You say he's won, but the race is not won until he crosses the line in first. DRS is now disabled. He hasn't won just yet. He's got a lead, but let's see. Let's see. Jay Snowy, though, putting on an absolute performance, by the way, for PR. He's absolutely putting on an incredible performance. What's going on? No, that was the other Red Bull that was retiring. But Jay Snowy's put on an absolutely incredible performance. Same as Kaya Fan, who's making his way past Nilu for P7. And that's an incredible move up into P7 for Kaya Fan. I have to say, it's been a very quiet night from VMV, but they're currently on their way for at least 5 points. So it's a points finish once again. 2 points in the last race, another 5 this race. Good 7 points in 2 races. Which will, I think they stay in the same position in the Constructors' Championship, but they will get a bit closer to the pack. But still, as it stands, I believe, as it stands, it will still be SET who lead the Constructors' Championship out of round 2. It's still going to be SET who lead the Constructors' Championship out of round 2. It's strange, isn't it? They might have won last week, but just like sort of AMS last season, the first 5 races was just being consistently in the top 10. We see that, UFRT are up there, in there as well, P5, P6. Most likely going to finish P5 and about P9 in this race. Or about P8, who knows, roughly about there. It's quite interesting to see PR as well showing consistency in all of that. I've got to say, though, the team that I'm most surprised by who haven't performed well, again, is ABE. For the second race in a row, not on for any points. P11 and DNF suffering. It's a bit of a better finish overall for top performance, but that second driver, again, struggling. 17th last race and DNF this race. So it's a tough one, I think, coming in for ABE. They've had a really rough start to the season. No points coming their way. Same for AERT, but difference is that was more bad luck, I believe. A bit more bad luck and a big collision that caused that, rather than just purely just pace and strategy just not being there, and a few spins as well. not helping out the team. Spin for JD Bergsma and a spin for his teammate ICU as well. Both drivers suffering either a spin or multiple spins. So it's been a bit of a stressful one. Frozen, by the way, is closing in. 5 seconds the gap is down to. Frozen really coming into his element in these wet conditions. He's really bringing down the gap. He's finding lots of time over Yanni now. He's found about 3/10 down that straight. I'd say SCT have been pretty strong when it comes down to straight line speed. So that might be where the strength is coming from. But now heading down towards the end of Sector 1. Gained about 3/10 on the man of Yanni Casares in this first sector. So we'll have to see. Yanni struggling. It does seem to be making maybe a mistake or two. We'll watch on board for the rest of this lap. We will watch him on board just for the rest of this lap. See where he's going a bit wrong. Definitely a bit of understeer kicking in for Yanni mid-corner. Connor gets a 3-second time penalty. That means he's off for the podium. And PR will take their first ever podium in FRLT. You see the gap down another 10th so far this lap. Not working out for EVR here tonight. P3, well, set to be P4 and P13. Not where you want to be sitting as a team. P4 and P13. Again, another, last week, both drivers finished inside of the top 10, I believe. This week, not going to be happening. Sorry, no, only one driver finished inside the top 10. I am incorrect. I'm thinking about no assists from last week. Not assists. Cormac, all over the back of Najus. Najus, really, he was the leading VMV driver today. He was the leading VMV driver in qualifying and for the first half of the race. But he's really dropped away in the last about 10 laps. To the point where even Cormac is all over the back of him and charging for that P12 spot on the grid. Penalty-wise, can Cormac claim another place? Yes, he can. All these drivers are on the same level of penalties. So, and here comes Najus. He's coming in. Will we see a 6th retirement to today? I really hope not. But, yeah, quite interesting to see. Quite interesting to see nonetheless. Very, very interesting to see. The gap reduces down to 4 seconds, but Frozen gets a 3-second time penalty. The win is out of the chance now for Frozen. And is pretty much 99.9% of the chance all goes to Yanni and SKG, who are on their way to win the second race of the season, their first win of Season 5. They waited a long time last season to get their first win and got a 1-2 in all of it. Now they're going to be taking another win in FRLT assists. They've had glory in 4s and they're having some more glory here in assists here tonight. But of course, as it stands, only one of their drivers will score points, but still that 50% finish rate is still going against the team here tonight. I have to say that is something though SKG are going to have to look at for the future, is that 50% finish rate. They're just not there in performance as it stands. They're just not sitting there where they need to be. They got 11 points last week. But a DNF, they got P4 and P and a DNF last week. And this week, it might be an improvement. It might be P1, but it's again another DNF. That second driver just not pulling SKG very far at the moment. They need both drivers to be up there. But SKG pushing back into the championship. Pushing back for a win. And take I believe their second win ever in FRLT. And there's a slow car out of track. That's Elias who's gone round. AERT not having the best of starts to their campaign as he slides all over the track as he gets going. But Simba, as Nilu gets a 3-second time penalty as well, that's not going to help him. That is going to drop him down to P9 in the end. Penalty-wise, that actually means it is P5 and P6 for UFRT. It is 17 points for UFRT tonight, which actually pulls them. They scored 10 points last week, which means they've scored 27 points in just the first 2 races of the season. just a reminder, last season they scored 37 points, 37 or 38 points in the entirety of last season. In 8 races, they scored 37 or 38 points. This season, they were on their way to score 27 in just 2 races. So an absolute improvement in form. Absolute improvement in form. Nilu drops down, and outside of the top 10 he goes. He goes onto the wet tyres. That's just disappointing for Nilu. To really say it. It's incredibly disappointing to see for him because, you know, it was looking like it looked good at the start, then it's really sort of fallen apart. So SET will also suffer just one car finishing in the points. But with that, ABE are into the points and on their way to score their first point of the season. It's not the finish they want, but it's the finish they'll get. Just a few more laps to go in this race as Yanni begins lap 32. 4 more laps to go. But Washed, Frozen, is making his way down. He's only 2 seconds behind the race leader now. He's cut that in half since the last time we looked. So in the last about 3 laps, he's cut that in half. So really, Frozen is pushing the pace. He's really pushing the performance he can. He really wants to get this win. Possibly he thinks he can get the penalty removed. Maybe he will. Maybe SET will win twice in 2 races. 2 wins, 2 races. I mean, that would be astounding to see from SET. 1 win in 10 races last season. And to suddenly change, sort of, I think, 2 podiums in 10 races. To suddenly change that to 2 wins in 2 races. And, of course, 2 podiums in 2 races would be absolutely incredible. But if I was to say, based off of this first 2 races of the season, where would I put which team? I think solidly, quickest team at the moment is SET. I think SET are solidly the quickest team out there. I think at the moment they are currently on top, quickest in pace. I think SKG are definitely sitting in second. I think EVR are third. I think UFRT, after this week, have definitely claimed that 4th. VMV probably, I think PR are 5th. I think VMV are 6th. 7th is probably LR. I'd say they've really dropped off. 8th. I'd say 8th is probably AZR. I'd say out of these first 2 races, AZR definitely 8th. 9th is definitely AB, and 10th is AERT, but unlucky. But still, based off of that, still off the qualifying, I'd say AERT are 9th, and 10th is currently ABE. So ABE is still kind of coming out as the slowest team on the grid. But it does mean, out of the 10 teams competing in this race, 9 will still score points. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 teams are scoring points in this race, by the way. 8 teams are scoring points. And the new points finisher and all of that as well with ABE. There'll be a new points finisher here tonight. Cormac Hutton, though, got to look at him because he's eyeing up P10 at the moment to get past JD Bergsma. I know that AERT haven't scored points this week, but if ABE don't score points this race, I've really got to question how good was their qualifying, how much of a sort of lie was their qualifying, because I'm sorry, but I'm just looking at it. Fastest in qualifying by 0.4 of a second, by the way. Fastest in the qualifiers by 0.4 of a second, which was massive, and I think was a very clear opening. Now, I said AB were going to clearly finish inside of the top 3. So far, they sit 10th in the Constructors. With AERT joining, that means they sit 11th officially. They still sit 10th. But without XR8 in all of it, it means that they do finish. They do sit 9th at the moment in the Constructors. 9th after 2 races. But here comes Cormac Hutton. He wants to make sure it stays 9th. It would stay 9th anyway, but here comes Cormac around the outside. Is he going to get JD Bergsma into the first corner? JD Bugs was really trying, but he's got to give up the points position. And ABE look like they're going to suffer a second race without a point. I cannot believe it. 3 laps to go in the race. Just 3 laps to go. But as you can see, Cormac pulling up that position. Thought we could see that. But we've got to look to P2, by the way. And to the leaders. Because Frozen has now caught up to within a second of Yanni. The gap is coming down. It is coming down massively. Down to half a second. Frozen thinks he might be able to get the penalty moved. It's definitely what I'm feeling. It's definitely what I'm feeling at the moment. It's definitely a feeling that I've got. So at the moment, Jay Snowy will finish P3. And PR will achieve their first podium ever in FRLT assists. But Frozen, all over the back of the man of Yanni Casares. And look at this, the battle over P11 is going on. JD Bugs are not really wanting to give up the place. Slow out of the final corner. But he's down to P12. And ABE will follow in their first race with another no points finish. In a few moments, we're going to be going on to the final lap of the race here. Final lap of the race. Down the inside went JD Bergsma. Can he hold on to it? Robbie gets another 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help himself out. At least he's still going to come out in front in all of this. But ultimately, JD Bergsma really battling over this. He's really battling over this P11 finish. It's not even points. It is just P11 in this entire race. Still going at it. They're still battling so incredibly hard. And JD Bergsma is now down to P10 in this race. Oh, bit of contact there. And we've got to look to the front too. Because Frozen is within half a second of the Aston Martin. Is he going to send it? Is he going to try and get a warning removed and take his second victory of the season? Are we going to see SCT dominance? He's trying. He's trying. Is he going to send it? No, he's not. He's going to leave it and he's going to save it for another day. Jay Snowy trying to do everything he can. He's really trying to do everything he can to stay within 3 seconds. He's just outside of that 3-second gap, so he needs to close that in just a little bit more. Another 0.2, and he will make it. But Robbie is also catching him at the same time. But look at this. Frozen all over the back. The dirty air is not helping the McLaren at all. Through the corners he goes. It's not where he wants to be as it stands. And it looks like that's pretty much confirmed. I think that's pretty much confirmed who is going to win this race. Almost an entire day of dominance from SKG and Yanni Casares. And round the final corner, Yanni goes. And heading up to the line, SKG win in round 2. And it is Yanni to win in Mexico for SKG of FRLT Season 5 assists. And it is Mexico that he wins in. Connor is coming round the line next. He's going to come round in P3 and finish on the podium. That's a good podium for EVR. Jay Snowy 4th. Robbie 5th. Simba making his way round. Making his way round. He's going to be P6. Next we have then Kaya Fan. He's making his way round to finish P7. Switch P8 as well. Very, very close behind. Sven is actually going to pick up a points finish for AZR. Another 2 points coming their way. Up to 7 points in their championship run. And that is Cormac Hutton, who finishes in 10th. Somehow, he does it. Somehow he does it. But that is it to the race. No points for ABE. Once again, second race without points. Oh, it's a tough story so far this season for ABE. I don't know what to say about their campaign. They're just not there. I don't know whether it's because the competition from last season and this season has risen so much from season 3 when ABE last raced, but just so unlucky. So unlucky for ABE. It's so disappointing to see such a legendary team struggle. But for the first time, SKG are up on the top step of the podium for the first time this season. SET and EVR also make it onto the podium. Two of the top three in the constructors ultimately find it, but 3 teams out of the top 4 in the constructors do find it onto the lovely place of the podium. And it's a solid finish in the end for everybody. As you can see, fast lap was frozen. So the point will go to them. Let's have a look, though. It is Yanni who wins in Mexico 4 by Frozen and Connor on the podium. Jay Snowy is 4th, Robbie is 5th with his teammate Simber in 6th, Kai Fan 7th, Switch 8th, Sven 9th, and Cormac Hutton with a great return to P10. Marvin is 11th, Jenny Burks was 12th, Nilu 13th, Elias 14th, and Najas in 15th out. The retirees being Ruben, Half Snow, Toma, ICU, and Vapor. And that is that for tonight. That is all wrapped up for tonight's. That is that for tonight's race. And I cannot believe how incredible. But what an incredible run. What an incredible run. Absolutely incredible. I have no words for tonight's race. Again, incredible levels of driving quality. So quite an interesting race. Very, very interesting race after today. I think it shows again who's really coming out as the quickest. I think SCT, most consistent team. I think EVR also up there, is consistently there. Connor could have won. I do think there was a good chance Connor could have won, so we could have seen EVR win. But also altogether, I think we're starting to see who's shaping up that sort of top 5 in the championship. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please think about subscribing and leaving a like. Also, make sure to click on that notification bell to know about all the content we're going to be doing, from assists to no assists to fours. Also, for things like videos, shorts, and these streams, of course, make sure to have your notifications on for that. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much. I hope you have an absolutely amazing evening. I will see you guys on Friday for round 2 of no assists. And I hope you guys have a good week. If we won't see you then, or we'll see you on Sunday for fours. But ultimately, thank you so much. Goodbye. Look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car! Here comes Mika into Stoke Corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands. Got FPV down towards the next cover. Oh, what is? Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins in Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And that's